Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We are recording this on February 2nd, 2026. And if you have looked at a calendar recently, or if you just, feel that general sense of time passing weighing on you, you might have realized we are right on the edge of a pretty massive cultural milestone.
A huge one.
In less than 2 weeks, the platform that basically ate the modern internet turns 21.
21 years of YouTube. It is officially old enough to walk into a bar in the United States and order a drink.
Which is a terrifying thought, considering I still remember when it was just like grainy videos of people falling off skateboards and cats playing keyboards.
Exactly. But we aren't just here to sing happy birthday. We've got a massive stack of research here.
We do. We've got financial reports, old interviews with the founders, some really heavy policy documents from late 2025.
Right. And the mission today is to figure out how a site that started as a failed dating service,
A spectacularly failed dating service.
how that failure evolved into the second most visited website on the entire planet.
We're going to look at the algorithm, the apocalypse, the geopolitics. But before we get into the weird history, and it is weird, I want to ground us in the present.
Okay.
Because I think people hear the word YouTube and they just think videos. They don't really grasp the sheer scale of the infrastructure we're dealing with in 2026.
It's almost impossible to visualize. The word giant just doesn't cover it. We're looking at 2.7 billion monthly active users.
Okay, let's just pause on that number. 2.7 billion. That is roughly 1 out of every 3 people on the planet.
And that includes areas with poor or no connectivity. So if you look at the connected world, the saturation it's nearly total.
Right.
But the metric that really matters isn't just who's logging in, it's the time they spend there. We're seeing over 1 billion hours of video consumed every single day.
1 billion hours daily. So what is that?
Yeah.
Roughly 114,000 years of human attention is just poured into this thing every 24 hours.
It's an attention black hole.
Yeah.
It really is. And the library that's feeding that hunger is expanding at a rate that it defies logic.
What's the count now?
Well, as of mid-2024, the total video count was somewhere around 14.8 billion. But the upload rate is the killer stat.
Go on.
More than 500 hours of content are uploaded every minute.
So in the time it took you to say that one sentence, about 3 weeks worth of video was just added.
Exactly. And that creates an engineering challenge, a moderation challenge, and, a cultural challenge that no other company has ever really had to solve at that scale.
And it is a financial monster, too. We're going to dissect the business model later, but just top line, we're talking about a platform generating over $50 billion in combined revenue. It's a geopolitical battleground. It's an economy. It's a library.
And as we saw in 2025 with the age assurance rollouts and misinformation policy shifts, it's also becoming a highly regulated utility. It is not the Wild West anymore.
Definitely not. We're going to get into the whole scan your face to watch a video controversy, which is very real and happening now. But let's rewind.
To the beginning.
Every empire has an origin story. And usually that origin story is a little bit messy. With YouTube, it involves a wardrobe malfunction, a tsunami, and a dinner party that might be a complete lie.
The mythology of Silicon Valley loves a good garage moment, right? And YouTube has 2 very distinct versions of its founding myth.
2 competing myths.
Competing myths. And to understand them, you have to look at the 3 guys who built it. Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jawed Karim.
The PayPal Mafia.
Right. And that label is important. They were all early employees at PayPal. They watched a small, scrappy startup get acquired by eBay for, $1.5 billion?
Yeah.
So they walked away with capital, but more importantly, they walked away with a specific mindset. They understood that if you want to build something huge, you have to remove friction.
Okay.
PayPal removed the friction of sending money. Their idea was to remove the friction of sharing video.
Because in 2005, sharing a video was a nightmare.
A total nightmare.
You had to compress it, email it, if the file wasn't too big, or maybe host it on a private FTP server. It just wasn't something a normal person could do.
It was technical hell. So this brings us to the first origin story, the dinner party.
The official story, for a while.
The official PR story. The version that Steve Chen and Chad Hurley told to the press for years is that in early 2005, they were at a dinner party at Chen's apartment in San Francisco. They were shooting clips of their friends, having a great time, and the next day they wanted to share the files. But they couldn't. The files were too heavy for email.
It's a classic problem-solution narrative. We had a problem, so we built the solution. It's very, very marketable.
Incredibly marketable. It makes them seem like these relatable guys just trying to help their friends out. But there's a snag.
Jawed Karim.
Jawed Karim, the third founder, says the party never happened.
He wasn't invited.
He says nobody was invited because the party didn't exist. He claims the dinner party was a fabrication by the PR team to make the company seem more approachable and less, corporate.
So what's Karim's version? Because usually the unsexy version ends up being the truth.
Karim's version is fascinating because it's not about social sharing. It's about information access.
Okay.
He points to two specific events in 2004 that frustrated him. The first was the Indian Ocean tsunami.
A massive global event.
Massive. People were talking about it everywhere, but he couldn't find any actual footage of it online. He wanted to see the scale of the disaster, and the internet just couldn't provide it.
Which is so hard to imagine now. Today, if an event like that happens, there are 50 different angles of it on YouTube within minutes.
Precisely. The second event was the Super Bowl 38 halftime show, Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake.
Ah, the wardrobe malfunction.
The moment that launched 1 million Google searches, Karim couldn't find the clip anywhere. And he realized there was this massive gap. People wanted to see specific moments, news, culture, celebrity mishaps, and there was no centralized repository for it.
If you didn't TiVo it, you missed it forever.
You miss it. So you have this conflict in the DNA of the company right from the very start.
Yeah. Is it a place to share personal moments with friends, like the dinner party story suggests?
Or is it a utility to archive the world's events, like the tsunami story suggests?
And the answer eventually was both.
It was both, but not at first, because their first attempt at solving this problem was, well, it was seriously misguided.
Right.
They didn't launch as a video library. They launched with the slogan, "Tune in, hook up."
A dating site. I just love this detail so much. They looked at this revolutionary video streaming technology and thought, let's make a video version of Hot or Not.
It seems completely absurd now, but you have to remember the context of 2005. Dating sites were one of the few business models on the web that were actually making money.
That's true.
So they built the architecture, they had the domain, and they needed content. But this is where they hit the classic cold start problem.
You have a platform, but nobody's using it because there's nothing to watch.
Yep.
And there's nothing to watch because nobody's using it.
The chicken and the egg, they were desperate. They actually ran ads on Craigslist.
No way.
Yes. They offered women $100 to upload videos of themselves introducing themselves to potential dates.
That is a direct bribe. Please use our website. So,
Yeah.
did anyone take the money?
Not a single person. Zero. It was a total failure.
Wow.
And this is such a crucial lesson in product market fit. They built the technology, but they completely misunderstood the user motivation. People didn't want to upload videos to get judged on their appearance for a date. The barrier was too high and the reward was way too low.
So the dating angle just dies on the vine. They have this code. They have the ability to upload and stream Flash video, which was the secret sauce, right? The fact that it played in the browser without needing a plug-in download.
Yeah, it was the technical breakthrough. Before YouTube, you usually had to download a massive QuickTime or Real Player file and have the right codec.
A total pain.
A total pain. YouTube used Flash, which was already installed on like 98% of browsers. It was one-click watching. It just worked.
So they have the tech, but no content and no users. What triggers the pivot?
They just gave up on the rules. They opened the back end. They said, forget the dating, forget the gender requirements, just upload whatever you have.
They moved from a managed approach to a completely permissionless approach.
Exactly. Broadcast yourself. That became the new mission.
And the very first video to test this new open philosophy wasn't a viral hit. It wasn't a celebrity. It was Jawed Karim at the zoo.
April 23, 2005. The video is titled Me at the Zoo. It is 18 seconds long. It is grainy. The audio is terrible.
So bad.
It's just Karim standing in front of the elephant enclosure at the San Diego Zoo.
I rewatched it this morning. The full transcript is literally him saying, the cool thing about these guys is that they have really, really long trunks. And that's cool.
That's it.
That's it. That is the foundational text of the modern video internet.
It is so profound in its banality. If they had launched with a polished commercial or a movie trailer, it would have signaled to users, this is a place for professionals only.
Right. Don't upload your junk here.
But by launching with a blurry guy talking about elephants, it signaled, this is a place for you. It lowered the bar for entry to the absolute floor.
And once that bar was on the floor, the floodgates just opened.
The growth curve was vertical. By July 2006, barely a year later, they were serving 100 million views per day. They were growing faster than they could buy servers. They were burning cash on bandwidth like crazy.
And this is where the predators start circling. or rather, the suitors. Google had its own service, Google Video, which I vaguely remember being clunky.
It was terrible. Google was trying to treat video like a text search problem, not a community problem. They realized they had completely lost the war. So in October 2006, just 18 months after that first upload, Google acquires YouTube.
For $1.65 billion in stock.
Which at the time was considered absolute insanity. Mark Cuban, the billionaire investor, publicly said that Google was crazy. He thought they were just buying a lawsuit waiting to happen.
He called it a bandwidth money pit.
He did, because of copyright. Because the site was, let's be honest, it was completely illegal. Users were uploading entire episodes of The Simpsons, music videos, sports highlights, none of which they owned.
Google was buying a platform that was arguably the world's largest copyright infringement machine.
That's exactly what it was.
I want to talk about that cultural moment right before the sale, though. The lazy Sunday moment.
Yes. This is the proof of concept for the whole platform. It's late 2005. Saturday Night Live airs a digital short called Lazy Sunday.
Andy Samberg and Chris Parnell.
Rapping about eating cupcakes and watching the Chronicles of Narnia.
The Chronic Wuckles of Narnia. It was huge.
It aired on TV, but then somebody ripped it and put it on YouTube. And it just exploded. Millions of views. It was the first time people realized, wait, if I put a TV clip on the internet, it can get a second life. It can become its own cultural phenomenon.
But NBC, the network, did not see it that way at all.
No. NBC saw theft. They sent takedown notices and demanded the clips be removed. And that specific conflict, the Lazy Sunday fight, really set the stage for the massive legal battles that would define the next decade of the company.
It was the moment traditional media realized they were losing control of the distribution pipe.
Totally.
So Google buys them, inherits all the lawsuits, and now has to figure out how to actually make money. Because $1.65 billion is a lot to pay for a site that just costs you money to run.
Through the first few years, it was a total loss leader. There were no ads. It was a free-for-all. The monetization engine, the thing that actually turned YouTube into a career for people, didn't arrive until 2007.
The partner program.
The partner program. This is arguably the most important business decision in the history of the modern web.
That's a big claim.
I think it holds up. Google took AdSense, their ad placement tech for websites, and figured out how to apply it to video. But the genius part was the revenue split.
5545.
Exactly. The creator keeps 55% of the ad revenue. YouTube takes 45%. Before this, if you put content online, you were paying for the hosting. Now, the host was paying you.
It birthed the creator economy.
Completely. Suddenly, a kid in his bedroom could make a living without a production deal, without an agent, and without asking anyone for permission.
And that model, that 55-45 split, held pretty steady for a long time. But if we fast forward to where we are now, the scale of the money is just staggering. You mentioned $50 billion earlier.
Yeah, in 2023 alone, ad revenue was $31.5 billion. By the second quarter of 2024, they were pulling in $8.66 billion just in that one quarter.
Wow.
But the composition of that revenue has changed. It's not just pre-roll ads anymore.
They've pivoted hard to subscriptions.
They had to. The ad market is volatile, and as we'll discuss, ad blockers became a kind of existential threat. So you see the rise of YouTube Premium for ad-free, YouTube Music, and of course YouTube TV.
YouTube TV is basically replacing cable for millions of households in the U.S.
It is. And they've become a storefront, too. I was looking at the Primetime Channels feature. You can buy a subscription to Paramount Plus or NBA League Pass without ever leaving the YouTube app.
It's all about keeping you in the ecosystem.
The crown jewel of that whole strategy is the NFL Sunday ticket deal.
Right. They spent billions for that.
Billions. And that was the signal that YouTube is no longer just user-generated content. It is a primary broadcaster. It is competing with ESPN and Comcast, not just with TikTok.
But being a primary broadcaster means you have to keep the advertisers happy.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the apocalypse. I feel like if you talk to any YouTuber who was around in 2017, they still have, like, PTSD from this.
It was the end of the golden age of unbridled freedom. In early 2017, journalists at the Times in the UK found that ads for major brands, Coca-Cola, the UK government, Mercedes, were playing before videos promoting extremist views and hate speech.
And the brands, they freaked out.
They boycotted. They pulled millions and millions of dollars in spending. Like overnight, YouTube panicked. They realized their automated systems couldn't distinguish between a cooking video and a neo-Nazi recruitment video well enough to protect the advertisers.
So they clamped down. Hard.
Very hard. They instituted the new thresholds. You needed 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours just to even apply for monetization.
Right, that was huge.
But more importantly, they introduced the concept of demonetization as a norm, the yellow dollar sign. If your video covered controversial subjects, war, crime, tragedy, political conflict, even if it was a legitimate news report, the ads were stripped.
Which created this massive chilling effect.
Mm-hmm.
Creators started self-censoring. They stopped saying certain words like kill or suicide, using these weird code words instead. It literally changed the language of the internet.
It sanitized the platform, it made it brand safe, but it killed a lot of the edgy, raw energy that made YouTube famous in the first place.
So that was the war between creators and advertisers. But more recently, the war shifted fronts. Now, it feels like it's YouTube versus the viewers. I'm talking about the war on ad blockers.
This really ramped up in late 2023 and just exploded in 2024. For years, YouTube kind of tolerated ad blockers. It was a small percentage of users, usually the more tech-savvy ones.
Right.
But as the platform grew and grew, that lost revenue became way too big to ignore.
And they got really aggressive. I remember that pop-up, video player will be blocked after 3 videos. It didn't feel like a suggestion. It felt like a threat.
It was a threat. And when people tried to find ways to bypass it, YouTube escalated on a technical level. They started using server-side ad injection.
Okay, we need to unpack that term because it sounds like technobabble, but the mechanism is actually fascinating. How is that different from a normal ad?
So traditionally when you watch a video, your browser makes 2 separate calls. It asks the server for the video file, and then it asks an ad server for an ad file. An ad blocker just sits in the middle and says, I'll take the video, but I'm blocking the call to the ad server.
So it's like sorting mail. You keep the letter you want, you throw away the junk mail because they come in different envelopes.
That's a perfect analogy. Server-side injection changes the game. YouTube stitches the ad directly into the video stream on their server before it ever gets sent to you. So to your browser and to the ad blocker, it just looks like one continuous video file.
Yeah.
There is no separate ad envelope to throw away.
That is devious and really effective.
And they combine this with Google Chrome killing off Manifest v2.
Another tech term. What's the analogy here, Sarah?
Okay, think of Manifest v2 as the blueprint that allowed browser extensions, like ad blockers, to have really deep and powerful access to modify what you see on a web page. It gave them the power to be very aggressive.
You're right.
Google replaced it with Manifest v3, which significantly limits that power. The official reason was security and performance, but, it conveniently breaks the most effective ad blocking methods.
So they basically changed the locks on the house so the old keys don't work anymore.
Essentially, it's a very clear message. You either pay with your attention by watching ads, or you pay with your wallet for premium. The era of the free ride is officially over.
Now, speaking of technical solutions to massive legal problems, we have to go back to the copyright issue. Because you mentioned earlier that Google bought a lawsuit waiting to happen. And it happened. Viacom sued them for $1 billion.
The Viacom lawsuit in 2007 was an existential threat. If YouTube lost, they would have been shut down. Viacom argued, pretty convincingly, that YouTube was built on the back of stolen content from their networks like MTV and Comedy Central.
So to survive, YouTube had to invent a way to police copyright at a scale that had never, ever been done before.
Because you can't have humans watching 500 hours of video every single minute. It's physically impossible.
So they built the engine. We know it as Content ID.
Exactly.
How does that actually work under the hood? Is it some kind of AI?
It's a form of pattern recognition. It's a massive automated fingerprinting system. Copyright holders, movie studios, record labels, they upload their original files to a secret database. Content ID then creates a unique fingerprint of that file, both the audio and the visual data.
Okay.
Then, every single time a user uploads a new video, the system scans it and compares it against that massive database of fingerprints.
And if it finds a match, a piece of a song, a clip from a movie.
This is the genius part. In the old world, a match meant a takedown notice or a lawsuit. But YouTube gave the rights holders a menu of options. They could block the video, sure, they could just track the stats to see how popular it was, or, and this changed everything, they could choose to monetize it.
So if I use a Madonna song in my cat video, the system flags it, but instead of suing me, the record label can just say, okay, put ads on that cat video and send the check to us.
Correct. It turned piracy into a revenue stream. It incentivized the entire media industry to stop suing and start collecting checks. It's probably the only reason YouTube still exists today.
But it's not a perfect system. Not by a long shot. We've all heard stories of fair use getting just nuked by the algorithm.
It's an automated system. It doesn't understand context. It doesn't understand parody or criticism or educational use. It just hears the song, sees the clip, and pulls the trigger. It puts the burden of proof entirely on the user to fight back and prove they are innocent.
And speaking of features that put the burden on the user, there's another one that caused a massive user revolt a few years back. The dislike button.
Ah, yes. November 2021, YouTube removes the public dislike count.
I still hate this change. I really do.
Most users do. YouTube's official justification was mob protection. They said that creators, especially smaller ones, were getting brigaded, where large groups of people coordinate to dislike a video just to harass someone or bomb their channel.
Which is a real problem, to be fair. Online harassment is serious.
It is. But the counter-argument is that the dislike button was an essential utility. It was the wisdom of the crowds. If you search for a tutorial on, say, how to fix my sink, and the video has 1,000 likes and 10,000 dislikes, you know instantly that the advice is bad or maybe even dangerous.
Without the dislikes, you have to actually watch the video to find out it's garbage. It wastes our time and exposes us to scams and misinformation.
And this brings us back to our friend Jawed Karim. He actually came out of retirement for this. He went back to the Me at the Zoo video, the sacred text of YouTube, and he edited the description.
What does he say?
He called the decision a stupid idea. He argued that the platform relies on feedback loops between creators and the audience, and if you break that feedback loop just to protect feelings, the quality of the entire platform degrades over time.
He essentially said the process breaks when the platform interferes with it.
He did, and it was a huge statement coming from one of the founders.
It's that classic tension between safety and utility. And honestly, looking at the amount of clickbait on the platform today, I think Kareem was probably right.
It's hard to argue against him when you click on a promising-looking tutorial and watch 10 minutes of complete nonsense because there was no warning sign.
Let's shift gears to the content itself, because the what of YouTube has changed just as much as the how. We went from broadcast yourself to what I kind of call the Mr. Beastification of the internet.
It's become highly, highly professionalized. We moved from vlogs recorded on grainy webcams to what you could call visual journalism.
Yep.
You have creators making full-length documentaries that rival anything on Netflix or the BBC.
And education. I mean, I think about Khan Academy.
Sal Khan started out just tutoring his cousin over the internet. Now, Khan Academy on YouTube is arguably the largest school in the world. It has democratized learning in a way that is hard to overstate.
And music. I mean, Gangnam Style.
That was the turning point for music on the platform. It was the first video to hit 1 billion views. It actually broke YouTube's view counter.
I remember that.
Yeah, the engineers hadn't programmed the code to handle a number that big. They had to upgrade the integer limit in the code because of one music video.
But now, the content is shifting again. And it feels like it's because of the competition. YouTube is terrified of TikTok.
Everyone is terrified of TikTok. And that is why we have YouTube Shorts. Launched around 2020, 2021, but they have been aggressively pushing it ever since.
And just recently, in October of 2024, they extended the length of Shorts to 3 minutes.
Which completely blurs the line. Is it a short? Is it a regular video?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to them. They just want you to stay in the app. If you have 30 seconds, watch a short. If you have 30 minutes, watch a video essay. If you want to watch the game, buy Sunday Ticket. If you want to play a game, well, now they have playables.
Right. I saw that snake game pop up the other day. It feels a little bit desperate, doesn't it? Trying to be everything to everyone at once.
It's the super app strategy. They don't ever want you to have a reason to close the YouTube app.
I do miss the days when the platform felt a little less corporate, a little weirder. Do you remember the April Fool's pranks?
Oh, the golden era of internet pranks.
2008. They rickrolled the entire homepage.
Yeah.
Every single video you clicked on the front page took you to Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up.
Or Snoopavision in 2016. The promise that you could watch any video in 360 degrees with Snoop Dogg sitting next to you providing live commentary.
It was silly. It felt like the engineers were having fun with their own creation.
Yeah.
But now, well, things feel a lot more serious.
Much more serious.
And that brings us to the political battlefield.
Yeah.
Because YouTube isn't just a video host anymore. For a huge chunk of the population, it's their primary news source.
And that power comes with massive, massive scrutiny. For years, the dominant narrative was about the rabbit hole.
Right.
The idea that the algorithm was specifically designed to radicalize you. You click on a video about fitness, and 10 videos later, you're watching a conspiracy theory about the government putting chemicals in the water.
But the actual data on that is actually pretty nuanced, isn't it? It's not that simple.
It's not. The old theory was that the algorithm pushed extreme content because that content had higher engagement and kept you watching longer. But YouTube made significant changes around 2019 to actively suppress what they call borderline content.
Oh?
They started hard-coding the system to recommend authoritative sources: CNN, Fox News, BBC, Reuters over some random guy ranting in his basement.
So is the rabbit hole dead?
Not dead, but different. More recent studies in 2022 and 2024 suggested that the algorithm isn't necessarily converting people to new extreme beliefs. It's mostly just reflecting and reinforcing a user's existing bias.
So it's less of a rabbit hole and more of an echo chamber?
A very powerful echo chamber. If you're already looking for that content, it will absolutely give it to you. In fact, one study showed it often pushes mainstream conservative content, like Fox News, to users who aren't even interested in politics to begin with.
But when we talk about governments, the stakes get much, much higher. Let's talk about Russia.
Russia is the perfect example of the splinternet, the fracturing of the global internet. After the invasion of Ukraine, YouTube blocked Russian state media channels globally. RT, Sputnik, they were just gone.
And Russia did not take that well.
No. In late 2024, they started throttling YouTube speeds within the country, making it painfully slow to use. But the headline that grabbed everyone was the fine. A Russian court fined Google 2 undecillion rubles.
I have that written down here because I couldn't believe it. 2 undecillion, that's a 2 followed by 36 zeros.
It is more money than exists in the entire global economy. It's a completely meaningless, symbolic number.
It's symbolic. It's Russia saying, we reject your jurisdiction and your rules completely.
Exactly. It shows the complete breakdown of relations. Russia is trying to build its own sovereign internet. And in that world, YouTube is the enemy.
But it is not just Russia. We have to talk about the Middle East, and this gets into some very heavy, very recent history from 2025.
This is a critical development, and it shows the real-world consequences of platform power. In October 2025, we saw a direct collision of U.S. foreign policy and platform neutrality.
What happened?
To comply with sanctions from the Trump administration, YouTube removed 700 videos and the accounts of several prominent Palestinian human rights groups, including Al-Haq and Al-Mazan.
And we need to be clear, we are not talking about violent propaganda here.
No, absolutely not. We are talking about archival footage, videos documenting the killing of the journalist Shireen Abu Akleh, testimonies from detainees. This was historical record being erased.
This highlights the fragility of that broadcast yourself promise, doesn't it?
Yeah.
YouTube presents itself as a global platform, but at the end of the day, it's an American company subject to American laws.
That is the key. When the geopolitical winds shift in Washington, D.C., the digital archive in San Bruno, California gets deleted. It's a stark reminder that your cloud storage is subject to U.S. sanctions law.
And speaking of Washington, the pendulum on censorship is swinging wildly here at home, too. We saw a major reversal in September 2025 regarding misinformation.
We did. Alphabet, Google's parent company, announced they were reinstating creators who had been previously banned for spreading misinformation about COVID-19 and the 2020 U.S. election.
This was a huge U-turn. For years, they were playing the role of arbiter of truth. If you say the election was stolen, you are banned. So why the sudden flip?
Political pressure, plain and simple. J.D. Vance, the vice president, explicitly defended this move. He framed it as a victory for free expression over facts. He alleged that the previous Biden administration had pressured YouTube to censor that content, and this was a correction.
So we are moving from a platform safety model back towards a more chaotic town square model.
Exactly. The new argument is, who is YouTube to decide what is true? But the risk, of course, is that the town square becomes so flooded with noise and deliberate lies that nobody knows what is real anymore.
And that question, what is real, is the perfect segue to our final segment. The technology of 2026. Because with AI, reality is becoming a very flexible concept.
It is, and YouTube is at the absolute forefront of this, for better or worse. First, let's talk about age assurance.
Right.
This started in the UK with their Online Safety Act, but in July of 2025, it went global.
This is the selfie gate thing, right?
That's what people are calling it. YouTube is now using machine learning to estimate your age based on your behavior, what you search for, what videos you watch, what channels you subscribe to. If its AI flags you as potentially being under 18, You lose access to personalized ads in certain categories of mature content.
And if the AI is wrong, or if you actually are an adult and you want to watch that restricted content.
You have to prove it. You can upload a government ID, you can use a credit card, or, and this is the new standard, you can take a facial estimation selfie.
So I have to hold my phone up to my face, let the camera scan me, and AI analyzes my wrinkles and my bone structure to decide if I'm old enough to watch a video.
Basically, yes. It feels like something out of a sci-fi dystopia. Please present your face for verification. But this is the reality of a regulated internet. The era of anonymous browsing is dying fast.
And while the AI is watching our faces, it's also changing the faces and voices in the videos themselves.
Auto-dubbing. This is actually an incredible piece of technology that rolled out in late 2024 and got really good in 2025. YouTube's AI can instantly translate and dub a video into dozens of other languages.
I tried this the other day. I was watching a Korean cooking channel, and the host was speaking perfect, natural-sounding English. Not subtitles, his actual voice was English. And the AI even adjusted his lip sync to match.
It's mind-blowing. It completely breaks down the language barrier for creators. A creator in Brazil can now reach an audience in Japan instantly. It creates a truly global content market for the first time.
But the dark side of that is incredibly obvious. If AI can generate new audio and new lip movements.
Deepfakes. If you can make a creator appear to speak another language, you can make them appear to say anything. That's why YouTube had to publicly support the No Fakes Act of 2025. They're building tools to watermark and detect AI-generated content, but it's an arms race.
If you can't trust your own eyes and ears anymore, the entire premise of video evidence just collapses.
It's a brave new world, for sure.
And we have new leadership navigating it. We should mention Susan Wojcicki.
We should. She was the CEO for a decade. She was employee number 16 at Google. She really built the business model we've been discussing. She stepped down in 2023 and very sadly passed away in August 2024 from lung cancer. A massive loss for the industry.
And now Neal Mohan is running the ship. He's been there since 2023.
And his directive from the board seems crystal clear. Protect the ad revenue at all costs, hence the war on ad blockers, and integrate AI into every single part of the product.
So let's try to wrap this all up. We've covered 21 years. We've gone from a failed dating site with 0 users to a cultural archive to a $50 billion business and now a political battleground.
It's the story of the internet in microcosm. It started as this wild, open frontier with a simple, powerful promise: broadcast yourself. And it's slowly, inevitably evolved into a regulated, monetized, sanitized, and in some cases, weaponized global utility.
It's completely indispensable to modern life, but it's also kind of terrifying.
It's both at the same time.
So here's a final thought for you listening. We talked about Jawed Karim's warning about losing the wisdom of the crowds when they removed the dislike button. But think about where we are right now in 2026. We have AI that is starting to generate content itself. We have AI that is auto-dubbing that content into your native language. And we have another AI deciding if you're old enough to watch it based on your past behavior.
It forces you to ask a really strange question. Are we actually watching YouTube anymore? Or is YouTube just watching itself with us as the passive passengers along for the ride?
I want you to do something today. Go into your YouTube settings. Find your time watched stats. And then ask yourself, what does this algorithm think it knows about me? Does it think I'm 18? Does it think I'm a radical? The answer might surprise you.
It usually does.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you in the next one.